Well, hello everyone. Happy Thursday night. We're really thrilled to have you here joining us tonight. I'm Tia Nat, and virtually beside me is my dear friend.
Dr. Michael Gross, welcome everybody. Thank you for being here. It's a
We
joy for
have
all of you to be with us this evening.
Perfect Michael. I'm sorry I overlapped you. We have a time delay in these things. Well, I'm going to get right to the point because we only do this for 30 minutes, give or take a few. So I'm going to go ahead and introduce you to Dr. Michael Gross, who I am honored to have here presenting his message every week at this time. And we go live on YouTube as well as Facebook. So please go, if you're on YouTube, make sure you subscribe, okay? Dr. Michael Gross is a professional keynote speaker, energy transformational coach, entrepreneur, and the author of the Spiritual Primer, Applying God's 12 Transformational Laws to Reawaken Your Soul by Reconnecting to God, the True Source, to experience your true source's love, joy, and happiness. He helps you achieve an unlimited life. For over 30 years, Dr. Michael Gross has been a spiritual teacher, a multidimensional healer, a transformational coach who is exceptionally skilled in all aspects of soul over soul vibrations, frequencies, body timing, life force energies, and oh so much more. Dr. Michael Gross holds many degrees, some of which include a doctorate of alternative healing psychology, Reiki master, teacher, thought field therapist, certified professional hypnotherapist, and a non denominational minister. Dr. Michael Gross offers workshops including reconnecting to God, the true source, cellular release, manifestation protocols, energy, multidimensional healing, enlightenment, and oh my gosh, many others. He's also an international intuitive consultant for corporations and has traveled over half the world. His clients are in USA, Australia, New Zealand, South America, Asia, and other countries. His messages are heard in the Baltic countries, Sweden, and South Korea as well. He has recently completed the formation of a 501c3 nonprofit, and I honestly hope that he takes a few minutes somewhere today to mention a little bit more about the nonprofit. And what I'll do is I'll put all his contact information in the comments. And I also want to encourage everybody to get a copy of his book because you can't get it on Amazon. The only way you can get it right now is through one of us. And Michael will be happy to go ahead and sign a copy just for you. So I'm going to go ahead and give the floor to you, Michael. Thank you for
Thank
joining.
you. Thank you, everyone. Welcome. I thought we'd talk about something very interesting. And what I wanted to talk about is a life cycle, but in a much different way. And part of the terminology, I really don't like the word that you die because you birth in and you birth out. But I thought I'd give you a rough idea of what occurs during your life and why certain things occur, why certain souls birth in, and why they birth out either early, too early, or later, whatever happens. So I'd like to address this with all of you. Before you incarnate, you decide with your guides, your angels, what you so desire to accomplish. And sometimes your guides and angels, true source, said we have a special mission for you, whatever that one may be. But primarily, we come back to experience more karma. Well, of course, I want everybody to understand there are two definitions of karma. Dharma with a D is a positive dharma. Like you gave away millions of dollars, you're a great healer, you're a great soul, and so now you come back and reap the rewards because you have to understand what it feels like. And karma is nothing but an experience so that you can learn from your experiences. Supposing you were a Scrooge in a past life. So then you work with somebody who's a Scrooge, and once you understand it, that karma is over. And that's important for all of us to understand. Karma is nothing but an experience to empower you. Now, understanding our script before we incarnate, you also decide who's your family, friends, relatives, who you incarnated before in past lifetimes, and how many times you're going to be married, or you're going to be single, whether you're going to have children, not have children. And also, you'll have 3 times in your lifetime when you can birth out. and I'm going to cover that. The energy and vibrations and frequencies that you will experience is something very empowering and positive, and you will put to use one day, either in this lifetime or future lifetimes. So here you are, and if you're reluctant to reincarnate because you had a difficult past life, true source, guides, angels, they will encourage you and encourage you, encourage you. And finally, they'll slip a Mickey in your drink and you say, I'll do it. And then you incarnate. So that's kind of what happens. So here you are, and you go, hey, I'm surrounded with all this love. This is a piece of cake. It can be a piece of cake. And you choose the family. And then when the fetus is ready, your soul enters into the fetus. So the next question is, when does the soul enter the fetus? Well, sometimes it's inception, when the zygote meets the egg and the fetus begins to form. You just check it out. Sometimes it's any time between day 1 and 9 months. And sometimes you will hop into the fetus, so to speak, a month or two or just before birth, sometimes just after birth. It's all up to you, your choice. Part of the excitement you will have is going through the birth canal. It's a wonderful feeling. You feel the love the mother has for the child and the father and the family. And you begin to understand you're on a wonderful journey. So you go through the birth canal. Now you're surrounded with your angels and guides. And if you're looking at a little baby, it's looking in the air, smiling, laughing, because they're talking to their angels and guides. And you think, I don't know, what's so funny? What are they looking at? And sometime, on an average, around the age of 3, it varies, but I'm talking about the average, the veil of forgetfulness descends upon you. What I'm talking about is you now forget why you're here, what you're going to accomplish, and what you're going to do. Now, there are some rare exceptions, but I'm talking in generalities. And then you begin to experience life. So, who are our teachers in life? Our family, friends, relatives, mothers, fathers, sisters, brothers, even religion. And we begin to form thoughts and opinions. But in the process, you miss talking to your guides and angels after the age of 3. So you make up imaginary people, your thoughts, your friends, you make up these things in your mind. Every thought coagulates or draws to it an energy, frequency, and vibration, and attaches itself to you. And as you use your imagination, it becomes your ego. Well, EGO stands for edging God out. In the very beginning, your ego is supportive. You can do this, you get up and do that. You brush off the dust off your pants when you fall, and you keep trying and you eventually succeed. Then after a while, it begins to control you and has an agenda of its own. It's a force of energy that's just outside your physical body. And what is the purpose of the ego? Major purpose of the ego is for you to realize that you have to discern, separate the ego through critical thinking. Critical thinking involves your soul, listening to the thoughts of your soul. And as you grow up, you meet these challenges, or maybe the challenges so come, and you grow up and you get older and you have all these experiences. Some of you will have children, some of you get married, some of you won't. Some of you join the military, engineers, doctors, whatever you are. But part of the challenge is that if you realize that as a baby, and you begin to grow up, you are like a blank canvas. And all these things are drawn or painted onto the canvas. You're like a sponge and you absorb this. And through this process, the ego blocks you from your critical thinking, or thinking comes from your soul. You innately know right from wrong. You know that. You don't have to be taught that. You wanted to say something. I'm going to have my double water straight up.
Okay, I have a question. I understand what you're saying so far, but before you go into how people, continue to grow and their ego gets them and stuff. What about the young people that are under the age of 3? And do they also have an ego? And what happens if they birth out young?
I'll get to that point. I haven't forgot
Okay.
that. Thank you for
Okay.
bringing it up. So you go through this life and experiencing certain things which you have designed, and you stop for a minute and say, did I design to twist my ankle? No, stuff happens. But everything in your life, both positive and negative, if you get the analytical, logical mind, which I call analogical mind, out of the way and stop dissecting everything, you innately know what's right and what's wrong. It's like, no, I shouldn't take Highway 5. Doesn't feel right. So you take and there's an automobile accident and you're late for work. Or, gee, I should call TU. I should call this or that person. And then you dismiss it. And that person said, I'm looking for you. I'm trying to get a hold of you. Or something important we have to talk about. We know these things. And we have these, they call it your gut, and it's really not your gut, it's intuitive feelings. All these things are taking place. We know that. But we make choices based on ego, to feel important, to grandiose, to feel we're special and we're wonderful. And then we look around and we see all these people that are popular. And I want to be like that person. And so you begin to sacrifice who you are. You begin to amend yourself. You begin to take away your beautiful, loving energy because you want to be accepted. And why do you want to be accepted? Because somewhere down the road or line, you don't feel you're good enough. Maybe your mother said, or your father, or your teacher, or whatever. Somebody said something. And I remembered when I was taking geometry, and I had a teacher that I believe she was 65, but when you're 13 or 14, she looked like she was 100. And she taught by intimidation. The girls would cry. One day I forgot to do my homework. I don't know. And she just made a fool of me. Well, in New York State, after that, I was kind of turned off, embarrassed, wanted to become invisible. She enjoyed making a fool of you because she thought it would inspire you or whatever she thought. And in New York State, we have what we call, the high school exam, but we also have New York State Regents. So it didn't make a difference when you got 100 on your high school exam to pass the course, New York State Regents. And that year, the Regents exam, the passing grade was 58. Shows you how hard it was. And yours truly got a 52 or 53. So I have to go to summer school. So I go to summer school. What a fantastic teacher. She made things so clear. I got a 99 on the New York State Regents. What a difference. But I allowed her to intimidate me. So the teacher was made crystal clear. She was easy. She just was wonderful. And that's what I want to point out. Through our life experiences, we have to discern what really resonates with us. But you have to dig a little deeper. When I talk about what resonates with you, not for money, but what feels good inside here. What makes you think that, yes, there's something I desire to do or accomplish? There was a couple of things we learned all the way, and that is do whatever makes you happy and success will follow. So if you look at all these people with social media, computers, and all the things that we're doing, they did it for the love of it, for the experience of it. They didn't do it for notoriety. They didn't do it for money. They felt driven to do that. Now you come in with a script, and all you need to do is do a quick meditation. And in your meditation, you know what you're supposed to do. Whether you're a doctor, a lawyer, maybe a plumber, electrician, whatever. Or you work at a store or you're a waiter or whatever. It makes no difference. What really amazes me is that we as individuals always are looking over our shoulder to accomplish something else for recognition. My mother said, and my My parents were first generation American, and I'm sure some of you may remember that. Said, you got to graduate high school, got to graduate high school. I said, okay, which my sister and I did. And then I decided to go on to college. And I mentioned this story before, but I'll tell this little story. So I went into college and I got a little small scholarship. And I worked 3 jobs. And going to college, I decided to be a CPA. I started that anyway. And my dad said to me, what are you studying? Oh, accounting. I want to be a CPA. And he goes, oh, a constant pain in the ass? I said, you're right. Right. Little humor. So that's what I did. And then I switched to economics and business. But anyway, those days, everything was done by hand. Didn't have calculators. We had adding machines, all this stuff. Calculators were just coming in. But my motto in life is, you don't know where you're going, you can't get lost. So I always followed that and went on and done so many things. And I said to each one of you, as you're listening, there are 3 times in which you can birth out of your body. But I want to backtrack a little more. And so we sometimes look at children that have, they call it infant death, crib death, they call it all kinds of different things. Sometimes you make an agreement with that soul so it feels the love that it didn't feel in another birth. That's so empowering. And then sometimes the baby's born and the baby birthed out of its body right away. And the mother and father, what did we do wrong, etc., etc. You did nothing wrong. You had this agreement to help this soul feel the love and something it needed karmically. You made that agreement. But what if a soul lives 1, 2, 3, or 4 years, or a little less or a little more? Again, that soul needed something important to understand, to feel the love and support and understanding. That's all that soul needed to complete the next step in its evolution, to maybe become a master guide, a guardian angel, or whatever, an angel. But you didn't remember you had made that agreement. So now you beat yourself up. But what you did was something so courageous, so powerful. You not only gave an understanding, you gave something money cannot buy, and that is love. It is so important you have made that agreement to touch that soul so that it can move in the next evolutionary growth. But that soul that birthed out at a young age is so thankful, so joyous and happy that it looks after its parents and brings love and joy into their life. And if you choose to have another child, will be there, or you adopt a child, that soul will be assisting you. What a great, great sacrifice you did. How powerful. It's more powerful than anything you could ever understand or comprehend. It is so beautiful. But they don't teach this. They don't explain this. All they come is a cold-hearted fact. That's what we have to understand, even if you had a miscarriage. It's all part of the roles that we play as souls. So what happens when, let's say, you have 3 times? So before the 3rd time, the first or second time you birth out, you go, okay, I'll birth out. Well, XYZ, you really didn't finish what you came here to learn. Well, that's okay. You got to come back again and complete it. Let's say you wait and you don't choose to use both, and you finally, the 3rd phase of your life. And now it's time to birth out. So what happens at that time? Well, of course, when I talk about you cry and you mourn, you don't mourn for them. You really mourn for your loss of them being in your life how precious they are. You're missing them. That's a beautiful thing. But when the soul completes its mission and goal, goes out to the end, meaning whenever they decided to birth out at whatever age, they go through a life review. Well, what's the life review? Anything and everyone you've ever brought joy or happiness to, you feel it tenfold or even greater. Anyone you've created a little pain, you feel it tenfold. It's not a punishment. There's no comments. It's just for you to understand. And you grow from that. You learn from that. And your soul records it. Because within your soul, everything that occurred trillions of years ago when you first started as a soul to this present moment, whether it's this solar system or another solar system. So here you are, you go through what I call the review, and then you go to one of the dimensions. And I want to explain, I use the word dimension, but it's really a level. There are thousands of dimensions, so to speak. If you look at a fish in a pond, it's looking at you, it's in another dimension. You look huge. However, a level is a frequency and energy and vibration where you, let's say, you recoup, you be reacquainted with your body, with your soul, your missions and goals. You may help out other souls, or you may choose to reincarnate, and you work your way back until you're finally in the bosom of the true source, and you retain your identity and everything that experience. And then the true source may call upon you to do a special mission, or you'll get bored and say, I want to do something. Well, you're probably saying, how can I get bored? Look at this life. That's what I say to myself, but then I realize all the lives I had. But it's exciting. It's exciting because you know what the sun feels like, the warm breeze on your body, the smell of a rose, the hug from a mother and father, the little baby laughing, playing with your puppies or cats, laughing with one another in friendships. All these things you're beginning to feel. Now, everything in this universe, either directly or indirectly, you help create. And that's so important. And after you created it, you said, well, what's it feel like? I don't know. So let's say you created water. And I always talk about hydrogen, 2 parts hydrogen, 1 part oxygen, 2 gases. How do you take 2 gases and get water? Some scientists will come up with a reason. No, that's something you decided to do. You became water for a short period of time because I am going to know what water is, right? So you tried all these things. You are a vast storage of knowledge. But here we are on Mother Earth, one of the most difficult, emotional planets in the universe, the whole universe. But you chose to be here because something great and wonderful will be occurring, something very powerful, a major change. There are going to be a lot of souls birthing out of their body, and there'll be souls birthing in. But what I wanted all of you to understand is you take with you the experience of everything you've had. And then you begin to look at the logic and understanding what you're once you were in your soul body. Set aside religiosity. Go deep and meditate. Ask what the purpose and reason is. And you'll discover something so beautiful, so powerful. And you are so brave and so strong to be here at this time. All of us listening to this, all of us on this planet, we volunteered to be here. And we had to make choices. Some of us chose very dark energy. Some of us chose love and light energy. But it's nothing but an experience. And that's what I desire for you to understand. So when someone bursts out of their body, be joyous and happy for them. Because whatever they came here to learn, excuse me, whatever they came here to learn and to experience, they chose this. Honor them. They're so brave and so strong. And so are you to be part of it. Yes to you.
I'll give you a minute to drink your water. I just wanted to say Thank you, thank you, thank you for such a powerful message. You almost made me cry.
Thank you.
What a beautiful message you've just left this world. I'm so glad we recorded it. Thank you.
You're welcome. Does anybody have any questions?
Barbara Crabtree, Mrs. listening to you. She's here.
Okay, thank you.
And we have a beautiful group of people listening. So um, we are getting to that point in time where we have to kind of wrap it up. So I'm going to go ahead and let you finish what your message is, okay?
So everyone, I want you to think about one thing. You're here to experience life. And if you look around, even though the life may have been challenging, I don't like the word painful or limiting, but challenging because you overcome challenges. Think how brave you are and honor yourself. And there's someone who may be watching, Sarah, here's my double water. It's a little joke. So everyone, I want you to know that you are unlimited and everything in your life, you now have the opportunity to turn lemons into sugar, pain into joy, depression into happiness. It can be done overnight. I want to thank all of you for joining us because I know we're running almost out of time. I want to talk a little bit about the International Institute of Self Empowerment, or as we call TICE, TIISE, 501c3, making short and sweet. Source said, form one. And I said, fine, formed it. And I know it's going to have 12 arms. What am I going to do with this? And then I met TU. TU wrote a book. She'll talk about healing the holes in your soul, talk about abuse, et cetera, et cetera. And I decided, yes, that's what we're going to do. And I asked her to be director of that division, which she is. So thank you. This is not an advertisement, but I'm going to tell you what we will be doing a little down the road. We're still getting organized, but it's very exciting. It's going to be very empowering for women and elder adults, if wish, and even men. Really very powerful. So stay tuned. I'm baiting all of you to listen to this because within a short period of time, whatever that means, we'll have exciting news. Also, I'd like to share with you that every Tuesday evening from 6:30 p.m. Pacific time to 7:30 p.m. Pacific time, called Soul Awakening, where you have the opportunity to ask any question on spirituality, and hopefully I can answer it, and I deliver a 10-minute message. And this is on freeconferencecall.com. It may go on Zoom later, but right now you can do it in your pajamas or whatever. No one will be able to see you. To access that information, would you give them that telephone number?
That phone number is 202 926 1059. And the access code, Michael?
125-446 pound.
Oh, one more time on the number, okay? It's 202 926 1059. And the code, Michael?
125-446 pound. And using the same codes, the same telephone numbers, on the second Saturday of every month, I do what is called the Mass Consciousness Healing. I want to ask you to invite your friends and family to not only the Soul Awakening, but to the Mass Consciousness Healing. And it starts at 9:55 a.m. Pacific time to 11:01. And the first 5 minutes we chat a little bit, and then we go into a meditation. So if you call in late and we're not talking, you know that we're now meditating. I call this the Great Gathering, and each one of us listening to this and on this planet is we are the solution, and we can make a difference. And this is one of the ways we can do that. And to access that information, please give us that.
The number there is 202 926 1059. And the code, Michael?
125-446 pound. It's the same one as calling in on Tuesday evening. Now, for you, for all of you, these messages, not only on YouTube that you can see, but I have audio messages which are also on YouTube. But at this point, I believe I have 400 10-minute messages. Boy, did I do a lot of talking. Holy cow. Anyway, when you see them, there'll be an award-winning photographer or picture by Tio Knapp, who's an award-winning photographer, and there'll be a little thought in front of it, like when the mind can conceive, the body will believe, or whatever it is. And then there's a 10-minute message. Beautiful part is you can access this on your phone if you're depressed, if you're angry, if you're tired or stuck in traffic, you can listen to it. And the beautiful thing, it's complimentary. And what have you got to lose? Absolutely nothing. But in the very beginning, it started from number 3. There's a reason why I chose number 3 to approximately number 400. Wow. But I never named them. And really, why would I do that? And I didn't know why, but I was guided not to. Now I know why. You want to look through 400 different names and figure out which one you want to listen to. I don't have the patience and besides, I can't drive and look like this and drive and be safe. So all you need to do is listen to your soul. And you may hear a number 243. Okay, listen to 243. But I would seriously suggest all of you to listen to number 92. And the name is going to throw you off. Listen to it. It's very, very, very powerful. Has a little bit of what I'm talking about today, but even far, far greater. To access that information,
That number is 434-300-4170. And the code, Michael?
125446 pound. One more time, please.
Absolutely. 434-300-4170. And the code, Michael?
125446 pound. I also would like to suggest to all of you who are new and joining us, and you can see it in chat, I offer a complimentary session for a half an hour. And any questions you have, I'll be glad to help you with. There's my private cell number. If I'm tied up, leave a text message. All right, it's very important. Sometimes, and don't text me, call first, then leave a text message. I see the phone ring. Sometimes I'm busy, sometimes I'm working till 12, 1 o'clock in the morning. But I see if somebody called and I read the text message, I can respond to it. So I want to share all that with all of you. And also, when you're going onto YouTube, please push the button subscribe, because my mission and goal is to get these messages out there. One last thing, and that is I want to talk about our books. Healing the Holes in Your Soul by Tio Knapp is all about discovery of self-worth, self-love, and self-esteem, of going through mental and emotional death, and like the phoenix rising from the ashes. It's a message of love, survival. It's a message that we don't give up and we listen to everything our soul is telling us. It's a beautiful book. I recommend it highly.
Thank you, Michael.
Besides, I know the guy that wrote the foreword, but I won't tell you.
He did write the foreword, but I highly recommend that everybody start here. The Spiritual Primer by this gentleman next to me, Dr. Michael Gross, because of all the content that he has written in his book. He gave me the tools and I started working with him. And the book that he's holding in his hand would not even be in existence had it not been for this incredible man and the beautiful journey that he's got me on. Okay. But start here. He, like I said earlier, you can't buy this on Amazon right now. And Michael can tell you about that later. But the reason I encourage you to contact him or me to get this is he will definitely sign a copy personally just for you. And we'll make sure that it gets out in the mail to you as quickly as possible. So start with this book. It will totally change your life. And get that complimentary consultation because it's well worth your time. He changed my life. I'm truly blessed. I'm truly grateful. He's okay, poor guy. He's in my life the rest of his life. But what a gift. So if you know anybody who's struggling, also invite them to this Thursday night or his call in on Tuesday nights. Okay. He has wonderful resources and information for all of us. Okay. Bless you, Michael. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you for joining us. Please pass the word on. And just remember, you are unlimited. Namaste, everyone. Remember,
Namaste.
we love you. Have a great week.
We love you. Next
Love
week,
you.
invite your
Thank you.
friends.